Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Mix here. Today, we're talking about a piece of aerospace engineering that is easily one of the most futuristic, standout, and frankly, one of the biggest what-ifs in US Army history. If I told you about a helicopter that flies almost twice as fast as a Black Hawk, features dual stacked rotors, and uses a rear pusher prop to thrust it forward like a fighter jet, many of you would immediately know I'm talking about the Boeing Defiant X. Born from a powerhouse partnership between Sikorsky and Boeing, this lethal machine was designed to be the ultimate successor to the legendary UH-60 Black Hawk. But here's the shocking truth we need to unpack today. Despite its god-tier specs and next-level technology, the Defiant X completely lost out to the MV-75 Cheyenne II, better known as the Bell V-280 Valor, in the Army's FLRAA program, or the Future Long-Range Assault Aircraft competition. Today, we're going to dive deep into exactly why being the best piece of tech doesn't always mean you get the contract. To understand why, we have to rewind a bit. The US Army knew it was time to push past the physical limitations of traditional helicopters. Standard choppers face a physics problem called retreating blade stall, which essentially puts a hard speed limit on how fast they can fly. Sikorsky and Boeing tackled this head-on with their X2 technology. They stacked the main rotors on top of each other, spinning them in opposite directions, a setup known as a rigid coaxial rotor to balance the lift. Then, instead of a traditional tail rotor to keep the chopper from spinning out of control, they slapped a pusher prop on the very back. This acts as a massive thruster, propelling the aircraft forward at speeds nearly double that of a conventional helicopter. But before we get into the hard numbers, I want to take you inside the absolute engineering insanity of the Defiant X. Picture this. You're in a chopper pushing past 240 knots, heading straight into a combat zone. But when you reach the objective, instead of having to bank hard and circle around to bleed off speed like an older chopper, the pilot of the Defiant X can command that rear pusher prop to instantly engage in reverse thrust. The result? The aircraft can practically stop on a dime in mid-air, like pulling the e-brake and drifting a sports car. It can transition from maximum forward speed to a dead-still hover in a matter of seconds, all while keeping the nose pointed directly at the threat. This capability isn't just a cool party trick, it's life or death on the battlefield. It allows pilots to lock onto targets and return fire immediately while decelerating. Plus, an advanced fly-by-wire flight control system manages all this complexity, so the pilot doesn't have to fight the weather or heavy wind gusts. They just focus on the mission. The ability to rapidly enter and exit a hot landing zone and touch down in tight spaces without needing a runway was the ultimate trump card Sikorsky and Boeing played. It meant the Army could use their existing infrastructure, existing hangars, and standard maintenance procedures that their mechanics were already used to. To give you a clearer picture of where the Defiant X stands on the spectrum of ultimate tech, I want to bring in the heavyweight that actually won the contract, the MV-75 Cheyenne II, or the Bell V-280 Valor. Let's put their specs head-to-head, including a rough order of magnitude ROM, so you can see exactly what the Army was looking at. If we look at these specs line by line, the advantages and disadvantages become incredibly clear. Starting with speed and combat radius, even though the Defiant X boasts an aggressive 245 knots, the Cheyenne II dominates at 280 to 305 knots. And when it comes to combat radius, the Cheyenne II pushes past 580 miles, leaving the Defiant X in the dust. Let's look at payload. The Cheyenne II holds 14 combat troops, edging out the Defiant X. But the real game changer is the external payload. The Cheyenne II can sling 10,000 pounds, meaning it can haul an M777A2 howitzer right to the front lines. That's nearly double the 5,300-pound capacity of the Defiant X. As for weapons, the Cheyenne II features a modular open systems approach, or MOSA, ready to be fully loaded with Hellfire missiles and Hydra 70 rockets. Now let's talk about the line that confuses a lot of people, the estimated unit cost. At first glance, the Defiant X looks like a bargain at roughly $60 million compared to the Cheyenne II's $70 to $80 million price tag. Cheaper up front, right? But there is a massive catch hiding in the cost per flight hour row. The reality is that the mechanical complexity of the Defiant X is brutal. Running two massive main rotors spinning in opposite directions at high speeds puts an insane amount of stress on the main gearbox and the drive shafts. Add in the extra shaft running all the way to the pusher prop in the back, and you have a massive amount of moving parts. All those moving parts generate extreme vibrations, rapid wear and tear, and ultimately cause long-term maintenance costs, or life cycle costs, to absolutely skyrocket. Meanwhile, the Cheyenne II's tilt rotor system offers much more manageable and predictable flight hour costs in the long run. The U.S. Army had to look past the initial sticker price and consider the massive maintenance bills coming down the road. Stepping away from the engineering specs, we have to look at the global geopolitical strategy and the sheer business scale of this decision. The Army's choice wasn't just about buying a few dozen helicopters. This was a seismic shift in the defense industry. The FLRAA program is a long-term procurement contract worth up to $70 billion. That is a massive pie that will feed the winning company for decades. Losing this contract was a bitter pill to swallow for Sikorsky and its parent company, Lockheed Martin, the biggest defense contractor on the planet. They even filed an official protest with the Government Accountability Office, or GAO, but ultimately the protest was dismissed, cementing a decisive victory for Textron's Bell. The core reason Bell won so decisively comes back to a fundamental shift in global military strategy. The U.S. military is pivoting its focus away from the deserts of the Middle East and toward the Indo-Pacific theater, a vast region defined by massive oceans and scattered island chains. Military strategists call this the tyranny of distance. In this kind of environment, the Defiant X's ability to drift and dodge in tight landing zones takes a back seat. What really matters is range, the ability to fly between islands without refueling, and the pure speed required to get Marines to the objective. That is exactly where the MV-75 Cheyenne II hits the bullseye. Its superior speed and significantly longer combat radius were simply unmatched. Plus, the tilt rotor technology had already been battlefield proven by its older brother, the V-280 Osprey. As incredible as the Defiant X is, perhaps one of the most agile helicopters ever built, it's like bringing a world-class close-quarters brawler to a sniper fight. The U.S. Army had to choose the technology that fit their grand strategic vision, rather than settling for traditional engineering perfection. Now, a lot of people might ask, since the specs are this advanced, is there any chance another country or allied military might buy the Defiant X instead? From a defense industry business perspective, the chances are practically zero. It all comes down to setup costs. Spinning up a production line for a high-end, mechanically complex helicopter like this requires billions of dollars in initial investment. Without a massive, deep-pocketed anchor customer like the U.S. Army to buy the first massive batch and absorb those R&D costs, companies like Sikorsky and Boeing aren't going to take the financial hit to produce it for small export orders. Doing so would push the unit costs so high that no allied nation could afford it. But don't write this project off as a total loss just yet. In the world of aerospace development, the real asset that will survive and generate massive profits for Sikorsky isn't the Defiant X airframe itself, it's the core X2 technology. If you take a forward-thinking view, this coaxial rotor and pusher prop tech is perfectly primed to be scaled down and adapted for the civilian market. Imagine a super VIP executive helicopter that can cross a city or a state at record speeds. Or think about medical evacuation, medevac, where every single second is the difference between life and death. An aircraft that flies twice as fast as standard choppers is an incredibly powerful selling point. On the military side, Sikorsky can still take this X2 tech, scale it down into a smaller, more agile, and more affordable package, similar to the S-97 Raider, and pitch it to NATO allies or Asian nations. These countries might not have the budget for a V-280 Valor, but they still want an attack helicopter that outperforms legacy Blackhawks. That is the business pivot that ensures this brilliant engineering won't be lost to history. And if we look even further over the horizon, the future of aerial combat might not be decided by manned helicopters at all. While the FLRAA program is moving forward, the US Army recently sent shockwaves through the industry by abruptly canceling the FLRAA program, their initiative to build a smaller armed reconnaissance helicopter. Why? Because they've assessed that the battlefield of tomorrow belongs to unmanned aerial vehicles, drones, and AI-driven loitering munitions that can circle an area and strike targets autonomously. Pouring billions of dollars into manned aircraft might no longer be the most cost-effective answer. This is a massive turning point, telling us that even the victorious MV-75 Cheyenne II might face a serious existential threat from AI technology in the next decade. The story of the Boeing Defiant X is an incredible case study in both military tech and global business. It teaches us that the best innovation, in the eyes of the engineers, doesn't always win if it doesn't align with the battlefields of the future. The Defiant X may have lost this battle, but its spirit of innovation will absolutely live on in other forms. So, what do you guys think? Was the US Army right to put their money on tilt rotors instead of coaxial technology? And do you think we'll see X2 tech show up in billionaire super choppers or medevac units anytime soon? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive into military tech, don't forget to hit that like button, share the video, and subscribe to the channel to support the team. I'm Mix, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.